waiting a couple of minutes or a minute to just see if this is coming alive. I think we are live. So, hello and welcome to Feel at Home Anywhere in the World. My name is Fra. If we've never met before, my name is Fra, and which is short for Francesca, and in Italy we short it by the vowel. And I am a community gatherer, a group facilitators, and a belonging coach. And today I am here to tell you all about getting to know the land that you live on. And if you are watching live, then give me a like or a heart so I know that you're there and I can see your name. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to type in replay afterwards. It's always nice to know who is here. And yeah, so I support women who have relocated to a different country, a different city, and I support them to stop looking for belonging out there in a project, in a country, in a culture, and turn the attention back onto themselves. Embrace their cultural differences and celebrate them, and then truly, fully belong to themselves first of all. I can see that there is 3 people here, but I can't see your name. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's lovely to have you. I'm still getting the hack of how these Facebook things work and where I'm going to see the comments and things. But anyway, let's dive into today's session, which is a theme that I'm really strong about. Hello, Rosaline from Spain. Thank you for writing so I can welcome you here. It's lovely to have you. Today in the UK is a bank holiday, so it's a day off. I don't know if it's the same in Spain. If it is, just let us know. And also today is Eid. So if anyone in this community is celebrating Eid, I hope you're having a wonderful time with your family and your friends. Yeah. But coming back to us, I get distracted. Let's come back to us and getting to know the land that you live on. I strongly believe that when we move to a different country or even a different city in a very different part of the country, we get so ingrained with getting to understanding the unwritten rules or the language and having a sense of where I can find the right people for me, and we get so involved and ingrained with all of these that we kind of lose track of our relationship with the landscape, and we end up kind of neglecting it, I think. And it can have some impact on our long-term relationship with that country or with that part of the country that you move to. And so I am here today to talk about what happens when we move to a different part of the world where the landscape is very different. And, you know, the air is different, the light is different, the climate is different. Oh, I can see your comment now. Brilliant. Hello, Lucy from Leeds. It's lovely to have you here. Hello, Sophie. And yeah, it's so nice from France. And then we had Rosalind from Spain. It's so lovely how international this group is. If you can type in where you are watching from, then we get a real sense of all the different places that connect us here today. Yes, I was talking about what happens when we relocate to somewhere that it feels really unfamiliar. I had moved to the UK from northern Italy into the UK about 15 years ago, and 13 years ago I went to the island of Skye in Scotland. And if you've been there, you know how wonderful that place is. It's really atmospheric, and it's got all this like, it's wild and beautiful. And we went, sorry, to an area where we got the bus, left the cars, and then got on a boat and arrived from the tropics. Someone is from the tropics. Is that Elenia? Oh, welcome. It's lovely to have you here too. We got on a boat, and then we went to this magical place. It was only us there, and it was absolutely fantastic. Then we set up for our mission walk, and we walked and we walked and we walked, and the landscape, I felt like it was like walking on the moon, because it was so barren and wild, and the sky was dense and it was low and like had these big clouds. And I was there going, where are my trees? Where is my sky? You know, and it's like I had to run away and hide under a rock and have a bit of a cry. I've never felt homesick like that before. It wasn't the people, it wasn't the food, although Italian food is pretty good. You know, it's like nothing else brought home to me the distance and the difference in the same way that finding myself in an unfamiliar landscape did. And so I want to reassure you that it doesn't really matter where you are relocating to, but we all miss the landscape that we were grown up in a way that we wouldn't. So there is this preconcept that as long as you go in a hot country where there is a blue sky and the sunshine, we're gonna be immediately happy and confident and outwardly and all of that. And it's like, no. Actually, a lot of my clients or the people that I have worked with do not, when that happens, when they go to hot places, they say that it's incredibly, no seasons here, exactly, Lenia. That it's kind of boring because it's monotonous. The sky is always blue, it doesn't change, it doesn't move, there is no season, so it's really hard to remember when things have happened because the climate is so consistent. And some of my clients really, really enjoy being in the northern hemisphere of the world where they can fully go inwards and fully kind of go on a more spiritual level. I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna carry on coughing. I thought that COVID was over, but hey, be still with me. Anyway, sorry, I can drink, but I'm not sure I'm gonna make such a difference. Anyway, I'm fine otherwise, apart from the cough, just in case anyone worries. I'm okay. So, what happens when when we find ourselves in an unfamiliar landscape is that it's really natural to miss what was familiar because of this difference, but also it's really natural that we might find that on many other levels we have integrated, found our people, found a sense of purpose, a sense of, of being okay otherwise. But the landscape, it remains something that we are missing, longing. And so in that case, I would really encourage you to find some time to connect visually and with that with the landscape back home, either by looking at photographs or videos or using your visual memory, which is the best, I think. And connect with the emotions that being in that kind of landscape, the one from home, is bring up to you. So for me is that I miss trees, and I miss to be in really thick, deep woods, for example. And so now that I know, and now that I know what is the emotion that I attach with that, then whenever I travel, I always try to find places that have a little bit of woods somewhere. It might not be as big and deep and thick, but it helps me feeling more connected. So this is tip number 1. The other thing that I think is really important in terms of developing a intimate and long-lasting relationship with the country that we live on is to fully become an apprentice of the landscape, of the natural environment. An apprentice not only it's not just about the language, it's not just about the people, it's about the landscape, it's about the natural environment. And sometimes it can feel a little bit overwhelming. So if we change our attitude, and instead of feeling intimidated, instead of feeling separate and different, instead of doing this, if we embrace the idea of becoming an apprentice, we kind of stop the pushing and open a space for a relationship. Open the space for curiosity and the space for learning. And you can become an apprentice of your landscape and natural environment in 3 different ways. There is thousands more, right? Obviously. I'm just giving you 3 to just, as a starter, as a suggestion. Hello, Eleonora, good to see you. I think you're in Germany. So, first thing in becoming an apprentice of a new landscape is to learn what are the edible plants and what are the poisonous. Is a really simple thing that you could do either by buying books if you're kind of a self-taught person, or you can go on wild walks. They're becoming more and more popular in different parts of the world. There are people that will take you on a walk for 1, 2, or 3 hours in the local parks or just outside the city, and actually show you and teach you all the plants and how to recognize which one is poisonous and which one is edible. And then the other step is to really recognize, what I was saying before of entering a relationship of reciprocity with the land, and so that we can shift from just expecting that we're going to take from the land, that we're going to use what is on the land in terms of products, in terms of like the things that we can grow, plants or the natural materials, or that we can walk and travel over the land, go from there to also nurturing, tending the land. And it doesn't mean that we all have to become growers, just like we don't all have to become growers. It's okay if we don't want to have an allotment, but we could tend to the gardens around where we live, and if we don't have a garden, it could be a balcony, or it could be the plants in the local park. You know, it doesn't matter how small or how big the space that you put some love and care and attention is. What is really important is the shift and entering in a relationship of reciprocity, from taking to giving, from expecting to conversing with the landscape and the plants and the natural environment, which can be, you know, rivers, mountains, seas, wherever. It's loads of different aspects. It very much depends where you are. Talking about plants is easier because plants are pretty much everywhere, you know. But yeah, sorry. So to enter this relationship of reciprocity, the step number 1 is to become an apprentice and learn the edible and the poisonous plants. Then another thing that you can do is to read poems by local poets who have written on the landscape. And by tuning into the words, the images, their feelings, and the way that they look at the world, right? It's like you go and open a window from their brain into the landscape and connect to the way that they see it, to the things that they appreciate, they value, they love. And by doing this, you will discover, you know, details, or you will discover places, or you will discover approaches to the landscape, to that unfamiliar landscape that you had not considered before. So yeah, that is another way to do it. And then obviously the best way to to become an apprentice of a landscape is to go and walk it. The best way is to really go and explore it. You know, like the same way that when you arrive in a big new city, you have a map, right? And sometimes you put the map on the wall to just figure out where everyone is. Where is the post office? Where is the central museum? Where is the bank or whatever? And then you mark it. We all tend to use Google Maps really these days. But do you remember those days when we had maps on the wall? Similarly, it's the same kind of things. Explore the landscape, explore the countryside, or the hills, or the woods, or the seaside, or, you know, I don't know where you might be. Go and explore the seas. If you're on an island, go on a boat and go further and further away on the boat and really explore it and find the equivalent that would be in a city. Find which one are the landmarks and learn to recognize them from very, very far away, but not the man-made one, but the natural ones. So the rocks, the trees, the holes. Sorry, you know, like just try and recognize from far away all the different landmarks and kind of write the map of this space on your bones. You walk it, you experience it, and then you find some points that can be reference for the future, and you mark them on a map, or you mark them in your memory. And then when you're far away, you look out for those points, and then you do it over and over again. And by doing this, you will learn the terrain of this area on your bones. And by doing this, you will become a friend. You will enter a kind of befriending. You would befriending your natural environment, and once this area have become your friend, you're not gonna be so intimidated or so feeling like kind of pushed away and like noticing just the differences, but you will bring it closer. It will be brought closer to you, and therefore you will be more inclined to go out and experiencing it, and really basking in all this joy and glory, even if it's somewhere that it might be really different. It either doesn't have any seasons or have 7 seasons in a day, or it's like it can be it can be either unsettling or alienating or really distressing for many different reasons. But ultimately, if we enter in a relationship of reciprocity with the land, then we can't but become friends and familiars and develop an attachment and then develop love. And then once we're there, our relationship with the whole other aspects of living somewhere else, they will simplify, they will come with a lot more ease, both in terms of engaging with people, the complicated and written rules, and the language that we might not know. Because we will feel more rooted in the area that we live in. I will be really interested to know how all of these is landing on you, pun intended. And I would love to know if this idea of becoming an apprentice of your land makes sense, and which one of these 3 ideas if for you seems the easiest to implement. So the one about learning the edible plants, going on wide walks, or using books. If you use books though, just be really, really mindful that there are loads of poisoning, not just mushrooms, but also other plants, and please be careful of what you eat. And then so that was the first idea, learning the edible plants. The second idea was reading poems of local poets that write about the landscape and the land over there. And then the third idea is to write the terrain on your bones so that you learn it in your body. I would like to talk with you about loads of other things, but there is so much more than I could talk about. I think I might do a separate live, otherwise I'll be talking for hours. And I don't want I don't want these lives to become too long. But it's been wonderful to see how many of you have stayed with me for the duration of the live. So thank you very much for being here. And if you find that the content that I provide in my lives is interesting and helpful, please let me know. If there is something that doesn't make any sense to you either, please let me know. It's just really nice to have a two-way conversation here rather than talking into the internet on my own. And yeah, feel free to invite people to join the group if you feel so inclined. It's really nice to see how the group is growing already, and that I've seen a few conversations in between the people, and I love the the spirit of reciprocal support and inspiration, so that is happening either inside and outside the group on my page, personal page. So thank you very much for joining, and if you didn't manage to watch it now and you're gonna watch the replay, please type in hashtag replay and tell me which one of the 3 ideas you see the easiest one to start from, or which one you've already done. Learn edible plants, read local poets, and write the terrain of the land on your bones. Okay? Thank you very much for watching. Ciao, ciao!